My name's Natasha Bamblett. I'm a proud First Nations woman and I'm here to acknowledge country. Hello, beautiful friends. We gather on the lands of the Aboriginal people. We thank, acknowledge and respect the Aboriginal people's land that we're gathering on today. Take pleasure in all the land and respect all that you see. She's on the Money podcast acknowledges culture, country, community and connections, bringing you the tools, knowledge and resources for you to thrive.
She's on the money.
She's on the money.
Hello and welcome to She's on the Money, the podcast that helps you build your career, grow your income, and actually get excited for Monday mornings. Our guest today has a serious talent for spotting opportunities most people would probably be too scared to chase, and then actually making them happen. She's gone from a very safe corporate job to launching the dating app Bumble here in Australia, to co-founding Sunroom, a platform changing the way women and non-binary creators make money. Along the way, she's raised millions, built brands that explode in the press, and crafted a career on her own terms. I'm your host, Victoria Devine, and here's why I'm so excited about this chat. Michelle Battersby is the kind of person who shows you how to take bold moves and turn them into a career that just keeps getting better. Welcome to the show, Michelle, or should I say welcome back to the show? Because you kind of did a cameo while I was on mat leave.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking I have done this, but I've never done this with you.
No, you got to take the wheel and now I've got the wheel back and now I get to interview you, which is very, very fun. I'm genuinely so excited about this. You live in LA, so this I feel like has been a long time coming and a lot of like, what's your calendar look like? What's my calendar look like? Oh, maybe not this trip, maybe next trip. Okay, what about next trip? Like, we're finally face to face.
I know. Feels surreal.
I'm so excited. And I just know that my community is going to be like, this episode's going to be lit. So, Michelle, when we have a little bit of a look at your CV, I would say it is nothing short of inspiring, which is exactly why in the show, I'm going to be taking the opportunity to kind of put you in the hot seat and answer the career questions that our community is sending us consistently. Things like, how do you know when it's time to change careers? And how do you actually be successful in the tech space as a woman? What does this look like? But first, you've been working on, I would say, something massive behind the scenes, and it's taken now more than a year. Tell me about it.
Yeah. It has taken a very long time. So we got Sunroom acquired, so it's been sold.
Wheeling and dealing.
Yeah. As we record this, it's actually being announced tonight. So It's being announced tomorrow morning in the US. The company that we sold to is a company called Fanfix. And it was such a journey to get here. An acquisition process is just wild, very different to a fundraising process, I've found. And it had so many ups and downs. So we actually first spoke to this company about a year ago, but we started moving through the process with another competitor in our space. And it was basically—
that's fun. Do you know what?
Yeah.
All you need is two to play them off against each other.
Yeah. Well, it ended up basically being close to a done deal back in February. And then I think anyone who sold a company will probably have a similar experience where you can get really close, maybe one, two, I don't know, however many times people—
just needs a signature. And then for some reason, that part doesn't go ahead.
Well, what happened was this company actually ran into some very public legal struggles that just made them— it would have been an unethical choice.
Yeah.
So we had to completely pull back and go back to the drawing board. And it felt like such a whiplash and such a slap in the face at the time, but it actually ended up being
better,
the biggest blessing, because we had gone through the process enough to see how you would structure the deal and how you would de-risk it. And so we could kind of take a second swing with all these other people, and
you're like, this is now not my first rodeo.
Yeah.
And I know what to ask and what to say and how to structure it and get our way. How exciting.
Yeah.
Let's backtrack a little bit, because for those of you who haven't heard of Sunroom, it is a brand and a platform that lives and breathes its values. As you can hear, you literally pulled a deal because you're like, that's unethical. And I feel like a lot of people, when they're at the point of sale, they're like, that doesn't matter so much. Let's just get it done.
We could have overlooked it.
There's money on the table. Exactly. Yeah. And Sunroom and you have obviously this mission, and you're really passionate about sharing real creators and paying them properly and sharing creator wins. So I guess you were achieving what you set out to do. You've like done what people probably thought is not possible at this point. Why did you feel like right now you were like, okay, well, obviously you've been talking about this for 12 months. I think if someone approached me and said, do you want to sell your company? I'd be like, no, I love my company. Like that's not on the cards. Like, why did you feel like now was a good time to sell?
Yeah. So my co-founder, Lucy, and I started Sunroom with the intent to make women and non-binary creators as much money as possible on the internet. And about a year ago, we were approached by someone in our space to merge. And so it's not like we'd been sitting down talking about M&A and talking about selling our company. It was, I guess, the example that you gave, like someone came to us, but it did get us thinking, okay, interesting, don't know if we necessarily want to merge with this company, but maybe we could sell our company. And could we actually help all the women and non-binary creators we've attracted make more money somewhere else? And so we started looking at our competitors, but we also started looking at social networks, talent agencies, even porn companies, like different ways our product might be appealing to bigger players.
Yeah.
And we asked ourselves questions, like, do they have a more extensive feature set than us? Do they have more resources? Do they have a bigger team? Do they have better brand awareness? And Fanfix, the company that we've ended up selling to, they just ticked every one of those boxes. They had a similar ethos to us in terms of how they thought about creators and supporting creators. They'd built out a product. They just would always beat us. It was like,
That's what you want, like in this particular situation.
Yeah. It's kind of like that. If you can't beat them, join them. And we just
sell to them.
Exactly. It just felt like, if we could land with them, this truly would be an amazing outcome for our creators. And as we worked through the process, there were many moving parts and many things to think about. Like you've got your investors and you're trying to think about what, you can return to them. You are kind of thinking about yourself. Like I've, made financial sacrifices to start a business.
100%. You've spoken very openly about, not earning much and taking massive pay cuts to like invest literally everything financially and otherwise into Sunroom. So like these are big decisions. They're not like, should we sell? Oh yeah, it's Monday, let's go.
Yeah. And also your staff. But then I think we were in this unique position because we've got a consumer product and our product is literally helping women make money. And so a lot of our users, they're paying their rent through their Sunroom earnings. They're paying their car insurance. Maybe they're buying homes. Maybe they're paying for their college tuition. So the decision of who to sell to, it was mostly weighing on what would be the best outcome for our creators. And it feels so good to be at this point now and to have actually officially done this deal and to have got them an outcome that actually has the potential to make them way more money. Like once this finally goes, everything is kind of transitioned over officially tomorrow. I'm so curious to see the data and to see, are our creators' numbers doubled on this platform because they have that much more traffic than us, that much more brand awareness. Though. Yeah. So it's like, I truly, hand on heart, I would have found it very hard I've been doing calls with our creators for the past week, running a very sensitive comms process to bring them in on this before.
Yeah, so it's not a surprise.
Yeah. And I would have found those calls very difficult to have if I couldn't
sell out, basically.
Yeah. If I couldn't truly say, here's all the ways this product can actually help you in ways that we couldn't.
Yeah, you've gone from being small to a medium and now they actually have the platform of a large business, but the care and respect and the morals of a small business still. That's a deal.
Exactly. And Lucy and I are advising for them for the next year. So
good.
We're still there to care for our creators, can be in touch with them. We'll still be behind the scenes. And it's weird. It's a very surreal feeling. But I feel very happy about it.
And I feel like those were probably your biggest priorities when talking about this sale. Were there any other priorities that might come as a surprise that you were like, hold on, I didn't realize I cared so much about this. This now has to be part of the deal?
That's a really good question. I think as we went through the process, because we had options, we had different competitors in our space that were interested in acquiring us, we also went through the process for quite an extensive period with a really big social network. And we also were talking to quite a big porn site as well for months. And I think
that would have made your emails look really good.
I think what was a really interesting learning in that is that there are so many different ways you can package your business up and tell the story to appeal to different people.
Yeah,
like
100%.
the social network we were speaking to were really interested in our technology, in our anti-screenshot tech and our team. So the pathway we were going down with them was an acqui-hire, which wouldn't have been as good for our creators at the end of the day because they were more interested in our team and tech and how we could maybe be a project team within their business and work on monetization for them. And then you've got the porn side of things, which maybe would have appealed to a percentage of our creators,
but not what your
all
creators do as a whole. And I think that that's, you know, as someone who's watched Sunroom grow and like followed it like a cult member, I know that, yes, there are people who create that content on your platform and you champion them as much as everybody else. But there's also just so many women just creating content for women that you're like, hold on, would that turn them off then?
Exactly.
So I feel like that makes sense to me, but that's as somebody who's been following it going, I actually really truly feel like I understand what types of creators you have on this app. And it's not, you know, your OnlyFans content creator. You actually have just people creating good face-to-face content and making a killing at the same time. And that's really cool.
Yeah. So I guess it's like we learned our creators really were at the forefront of everything that we were doing and we made this decision for them. And I think as I've taken all these calls over the past week or so, it's been amazing to hear their reaction to it and that they see the opportunity, that they're excited about it, that they're like proud of kind of where we're at, and it feels like we made the right choice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like you've been so transparent about like your career journey and what that's meant, and you are such a career person, but then recently you became a mum. So you have what now, a 16-month-old?
A 15-month-old.
15 as of recording. That's crazy. That is crazy. And I feel like we've gone through this like motherhood journey together on the other side of the world. Like I've been watching you and you've been watching me and we've been like, yep, same queen. We both have these little buff head boys and it's like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
But I feel like that really changes the way you manage a business and it changes your priorities. And before you're a mum, that's terrifying. Like both you and I were like, what have we done? Like we wanted this, but also did we want this? Like, is this, you know, is this it? And I think both of us can agree it's the best thing ever. Like this is the best part of my entire life. But like now you've sold your business. What are you going to miss the most? Because I feel like that is such a for me, I find being a business owner, also I'm a mum, but like primarily like on socials and the content I create and I live and I breathe business and work. What are you going to miss the most?
I think I'm not going to miss it initially because I'm doing this advising for a year.
Yeah.
So I will be in on the goss, but I just loved watching a complete unknown person discover our product and make bank. Like that was just the most rewarding feeling. So I think it's interesting because the little wins, I actually ended up feeling a bit resentful of my company in periods because I felt like I was just surviving off little wins over and over and over. And I was like, God, can I just get a big win?
I can't just live off crumbs.
Yes. But now that I'm sitting here, I actually think I will miss those small wins and just being surprised by someone's potential on the platform. So I'll still get to hear about that for a year, but then I think I will miss it. But it's interesting. I don't feel this huge identity shift in this moment because I think my personal brand and career, I've existed in big organizations and in my own organization. So I kind of have view myself as quite fluid. So I don't feel a great sense of emotion over not being a founder anymore.
I mean, you're still a founder. You're a founder who's sold though. Yeah. Is that like a step up? You're
exited. I think I get to use exited now.
Oh, yeah. That's bougie. That's definitely going in the Instagram bio. Talk to me about this though, because I feel like when I learnt that you were selling Sunroom, I'm like, oh my God, that's so sick. And then I was like, what's she going to do? Like, I feel like motivationally, you and I are on the same page and like, I just need a lot to do. Like, And whatever I do, I want to throw myself into. And I go, I see a lot of that in you.
Yeah.
What does the next chapter look like? Where are you going? What are you doing? Because I already know that you're not going to go, I'm retired. I don't do anything now. I'm just going to be a mum. That's not you.
That was the most painful part of how long this process took for me. It was knowing this is going to happen, but I can't talk about it. I can't publicly begin to explore other things. I need to sit in complete silence and wait.
That would kill me.
Oh my God.
I was born to yap, so that just wouldn't work for me.
And I'm so impatient. This has been the hardest year for me mentally to trust that it was going to come to this moment and it was going to work out. And in amongst selling my company, like back in February when that first deal fell through, that was the same month I found out I was pregnant.
Oh my God.
So I've got an 8-month-old, I'm pregnant and I'm selling my company. And now I'm not.
Do you know what? Go hard or go home.
And now I'm not selling my company. So like what do I do? You know, like it was really quite scary.
I would have cried. I would have cried a lot. I would have been under the table rocking just a little bit.
Yeah, I was really scared. Also, I live in the US. So to be a pregnant woman potentially trying to work out if I'm going to re-enter the workforce or what I'm going to do, I just had a lot of thoughts and what's happening with my health cover. You know, I'm pregnant, lots of things to figure out. And so I really had to, I did a lot of ChatGPT card pulls through that period.
Yep, good.
That shows you where my mind was at.
Do you know what? We've all been there.
Yeah. But I really just had to trust that, you know, like the universe usually has my back and I would figure it out. And we like definitely got the train back on the tracks and it was looking pretty positive like throughout this year towards this acquisition. And I knew at the time I would look back at this year and actually be really grateful that I had the time to sit with my thoughts and to reflect. And I thought about consulting and I thought about starting my own business. And then I realized I think I want to go and work for a brand again. Like when I think about my career, I just feel so, I have so many fond memories of my Bumble time. I like to kind of take something that I see the potential in and like try to blow it up. Yeah. And so I began to reach out to investors that we had at Sunroom that I trusted. And one of our investors is this woman called Michelle Kennedy. And she was actually on the board at Bumble. She came up with the name Bumble and she invested in.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. And she invested in Sunroom. So she's kind of like always like been there.
She's part of the journey.
Yeah. And she's the founder and CEO of Peanut.
Yeah.
Which is a platform, a community platform for mums. You can also track.
It's very popular in the US, but it's taking, I guess, Australia by storm. Like I'm on Peanut.
Are you?
Yes. I've like sent you screenshots to be like,
tracking?
What a coincidence. Like look at my Peanut messages.
Yes. It's an amazing platform. I actually downloaded it when I was pregnant with Alfie because I didn't know
like when I was having Harvey, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's forums, you can track your pregnancy, you can connect with other women. And I didn't know where that conversation was going to go. I was just feeling a bit lost. And so I actually think I asked, you know, can I consult or contract for you as I'm kind of figuring out where my next move is?
Yeah.
And she ended up being in LA. She's based in the UK. And I went and met her at her hotel. And I think we were meant to talk for 30 minutes and it ended up being 2 hours.
I love when those happen because you just feel like you have like a deeper connection and then you're like, wow, this is really cool.
Yeah. And then at the end of that meeting, it kind of went from potentially contracting to, I actually think you need to like come and like run this with me. And yeah, I just got goosebumps, which is usually the sign.
I just got goosebumps. Yeah. Like literally I'm like, yes, the world. I feel like sometimes we feel like the universe doesn't have our back. And then it's like moments like these, it's like, it does. It does have your back.
I just couldn't believe it. I got tears in my eyes and I just respect her so much. And I just thought the opportunity to be able to work alongside her on a product I care about this problem and it's something I think about when I'm in the shower. It's how I show up online naturally anyway. It just felt like this.
It's a perfect fit.
It felt too good to be true.
But when you told me, I was like, yes, that is perfect.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm still waiting for it to fall apart, to be honest.
No, it's not going to. It's not going to fall apart. It's going to fall together.
Yeah. So I'm actually today is actually meant to be my first official day as president of Peanut, and I'm going to grow it.
Sorry, you're president of Peanut?
Yes.
And how many weeks pregnant are you?
30.
So you're 30 weeks pregnant and got a job in the US as the president of a company. Okay, pop off, queen. You know what? No biggie.
It is a crazy moment. And I was so scared, like navigating that with my pregnancy as well. You know, I had so much angst because I thought, oh, I really want to get in the door. I want to get some runs on the board, and that I do need to go and have my second child. But yeah, it just feels like honestly such a perfect ending and like start of this new chapter for me. And I just honestly couldn't be more excited
And in addition
about it.
to all of that, like that's all so good, but like the ethos of Peanut, the user experience of Peanut, the clients on Peanut, sorry, you're on the journey with them. Like what a better person to know them and show them than someone going through the journey and being like, no, this is what I needed. And like, I feel like we need more of that.
Yeah.
It's literally so perfect. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
It's very cool. All right, let's take a really quick break because I promised at the start of this episode that I'd ask you like career questions that my community had instead of talking about your journey. I'm like, oh, what else, Michelle?
Let's
What's
stop
up?
talking about me.
So we will, I would love to keep talking about you, but our community has questions that I think you are going to answer incredibly well. So don't go anywhere, guys. All right, we are back. And like I promised, it is time to put Michelle in the hot seat, not just the interview seat, to give us a little bit of career advice. We have so many career questions that come through literally every single week into our DMs. And I would say that one of our biggest questions that we get from our community is saying they just don't know whether they should make the career leap. Like that is so scary. Like, do I take a step back? Do I apply for a job that I'm not qualified for? Do I, take a step forward and do a little bit of training? Like, what if I don't even like it? Like, what do I do? So Michelle, what are the signs you think mean it's time to change things up and take that next step?
I honestly think the number one sign is that you're even thinking about it.
I agree.
Like
you're thinking it, do it.
Yes, it's definitely that. I think if you've got those underlying feelings, but they're just making you feel uncomfortable, so you're ignoring them, that's your trigger to start really like digging into this. And I honestly think a great first step is just talking to people about it, admitting that that's the way you feel. I think it then depends what your risk appetite is like. So probably both of us, we would just dive head into something without really thinking much.
Honestly, like as much as it's worked out for both of us, like I think we are both equally chaotic.
Yeah.
And like people and I'm going to ask you this in a minute, but people are always like, oh my God, you're so like intentional. And I'm like, am I? Am I? It just seemed like a good idea and I didn't take any time to look at the risks. But yes, intention.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of ways you can play it. There's a couple of frameworks that I love. I think if you're the sort of person who needs a bit of structure. So one thing that I actually did before I started Sunroom, which was almost out of character for me, is do you know what an ikigai is?
Yeah, I have this course called Your Best Year Yet that I launch at the start of every year. And that is one of my suggested readings. Go find your ikigai.
Yes, exactly. So it's basically a Japanese framework for finding your purpose in life. But it's been transformed and you can apply it to your career. Yeah. So you really just ask yourself 4 questions. It's what am I good? What do I love? What am I good at? Did I put the at the end of that?
Whatever, I knew what you meant. Everybody else knew too.
What am I good at? What do I love? What does the world need? And what can I be paid for?
Yeah.
And I actually looked back at my ikigai that I did in 2020 when I was founding Sunroom, like a year ago, as I was navigating my career as a mum. I came back to it as like it was almost my personal North Star and realized I wasn't actually doing any of the things I loved or was good at in my day-to-day. Like I had been taken down this rabbit hole of just, the daily grind. And so it's a really good exercise to also come back to if you're feeling
It's a little
lost.
bit confronting, not going to lie. I went through it a year ago when I was like, oh, this Best Year Yet course has been out for a while and it's really popular. I'm just going to go back through all of the readings. And I reread the book and I was like, cool, I need to just get a little bit more on track with what I said I was going to do. But it can be really helpful. Like that's one of my favorite resources.
Yeah. So I think that's a good one to start with. Then Tim Ferriss actually has a line of questioning in his book, The 4-Hour Work Week.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a little bit more tactical. So the first thing that you do is about defining your fears. So you ask yourself a whole bunch of what if questions. And it's like, what if, the worst outcome? What if my business fails and I run out of money? What if my business fails and I lose my visa and I have to leave the US? And you just get it all down on paper. And then part 2 of that is preventative action. Like, okay, here's all the things I'm really scared of, but what is actually the worst thing that's going to happen? Okay, if my business fails and I run out of money, maybe I've saved 3 months' salary and that's enough for me to re-enter the workforce.
I can re-enter the workforce.
Yeah.
I always have that in the back of my head. I'm like, do you know what? I make a mean coffee. I'd be a sick barista.
Yes.
I can go get a job in a cafe any day of the week.
Yep.
I'll be fine.
Yep.
Can't be that deep.
Exactly. And like, okay, I need to leave the country. Maybe I have to go live with my parents for a bit. I think whenever you're taking some risk, there is a little bit of an element of needing to swallow your pride.
Yeah.
And you might think everyone's watching you fail. They're not. Everyone's too absorbed with themselves. Like, it isn't that big a deal, really. Even when I left banking and started working at Bumble, I'd never heard of the company. It wasn't established in Australia. I had no idea if they were even going to pay me. I quit my job, worked in retail, got my old job back at a surf store when I was 25 and moved back in with my parents. And there was just this period of, okay, like, I just need to do this until I figure out if this Bumble is even a legitimate company that's going to pay me.
And that's what we need to talk about more as well, because I think that they're the non-shiny things that you did where people are like, oh, and I feel like sometimes, and this is not, I hope not disrespectful, but sometimes we can put your career on a silver platter and be like, oh my God, look at what she did at Bumble. And then she's gone on to build her own business. And that's insane.
Yeah.
But like, also look at the sacrifice you made not knowing. Like, you went boots and all into this opportunity, not even knowing if they would pay you, but you were like, I'm really excited about it. And I'm going to swallow my pride and go get my job back at my old retail surf store. But like, no one's talking about that part.
Yeah.
But that's the sacrifice you make to kind of slingshot yourself forward. But then when people start talking about it, they just see the shiny name and they see obviously what you've done, and that's incredible. But like, it actually takes 2 parts. Like, you have to kind of like be willing to swallow your pride and be willing to take a step back. Yeah. Because if you're not, the opportunities aren't just sitting there on a silver platter. They don't look like they're on a silver platter until you're looking at them retrospectively.
Yeah, 100%. I so believe that. Okay, and then the third part of this is you ask yourself, what could partial success look like if I did this? And I love that question because this kind of segues nicely off your point. I think sometimes we're focused on the huge end goal, like not knocking it out of the park, making loads of money, reaching X downloads, all these sorts of things. But to actually ask yourself, what would partial success look like? I think it gets you into the right framework, into the right headspace of realizing that there is actually no failure. Like, if you take a swing and miss, you've still learnt so much. You've still inflated your own value as an individual. You can command more wherever you go next. You can bring unique experiences you didn't have before. So I really like the partial success question. And then the last one, and this is good. It is, what would your life look like if there was no action taken 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now? And you break it down into emotional, physical, and financial. So maybe it's like, okay, in 3 months, I'm actually in a toxic work environment. Emotionally, I'm going to be way worse off than I'm even feeling now. Like, physically, maybe I'm so burnt out and like overrun and over this that I'm going to be living an unhealthy lifestyle because I have no time to get out of the house, or, I'm just Uber Eatsing every night, which I gotta do anyway. But whatever it is.
I don't want to feel attacked on my own podcast.
But, just getting into those.
Sometimes we do what we've got to do.
Yeah, exactly. And seasons, there are total seasons as well. But just asking yourself those questions, I think if you're the sort of person who really needs to see it on a page and needs a bit more of a push, those are 2 things that I think you can do to identify if, you actually really need to make a jump.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about, I guess, this like career strategy that if we look at your career, it looks like you are so intentional. You're like, yep, and I'm going to go to Bumble and I'm going to do this and I'm going to smash it out of the park. And that's so cool and so inspiring. But I feel like every single time you've pivoted and every single time you've moved to a different role or taken on becoming a founder, you've obviously added massive skills to your portfolio, which, as you said before, even if it doesn't work out, you've got another feather in your hat that you can command more pay for, more respect for, a better job. Like, you can do so much with it. But what advice would you give to someone who's like, I want to be strategic too? Because is there all that strategy, or is it following your passion and following, what you think is really exciting and what lights you up? Because I feel like so many times, especially if you are in a salary PAYG job and you're like, okay, cool, I've got this really consistent income coming in. It's a massive risk to leave, especially, honestly, as we get a bit older, our responsibilities are more. We might have a partner. We might have rent on a more expensive place. We might have a mortgage. We might have kids. And that stuff is not 25-year-old decisions, right?
Yeah. As you were speaking, I was thinking, I don't have a strategy, but it actually is a strategy.
That's the strategy.
Yeah. I really trust my intuition, and I know I question myself on why I'm making the choice that I'm making. So, for example, this decision to go to Peanut, one of the companies that was going to acquire us ended up offering Lucy and I these packages. And I feel kind of uncomfortable talking about this, but it's a She's on the Money podcast, so I think
you
I need
also
to.
don't have to, because at the end of the day, and I said this before you came on the podcast, you don't have to disclose anything. It's nobody's business. If you sold for $100 or $100 million, it actually doesn't matter because it doesn't impact people.
Yeah.
What impacts people is strategy and decision making. And wow, she had the balls to do that, because do you know what? If you sold for $100 and you guys had decided that that was the best thing for your community, for your business, and for yourselves, that's a slay. Same thing is true at $100 million. People are just pervy and want to know how rich you got from it, and that's actually none of their business. And I feel like I do on Mondays every single week a money diary. And a lot of people have said to me, Victoria, why don't you do a money diary? And it's like, well, everyone on my show has been gifted anonymity. They come on my show, they tell me how much they earn, how much they spend, how much they own, how much they owe, and they don't have a name to that. So there's no traceable.
Yeah.
If I start coming out and disclosing my income, my salary, what I pay myself, how I pay myself, what my business is valued at, girl, that's going to be front page of the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
And also, the people who care aren't the people who benefit from it. The people who benefit from that conversation, they're not taking how much I earned. They're taking, what strategy did you have? How did you feel like Michelle, how do you back yourself? So I don't want you to be
100%.
uncomfortable or answer anything that you're like, I don't know. Because we can admit all of that stuff, but it's more around the strategy and the game and what that looks like. Because nobody's going to build another Sunroom because it's already in existence. And if they do, they're already 3, probably 10 steps behind,
No, I think this is good. And it does kind of get to the strategy. So one of these offers was an end of your career type salary I thought I would get. I just kind of was when I saw
big dog.
I was like, shit. And I went through the process because I also had I was also really curious to see how am I valued in a big place like this after I've, done all this. I'd always believed that it didn't really matter what outcome I got with Sunroom because maybe I could go to one of these big companies and I could command a lot. So I was doing it as a bit of a challenge to myself. I really wanted to see how would I be leveled, what would my package look like? And I wasn't really going through the process with the intent to take the role.
Yeah, totally.
Because I was already listening to my heart.
We can go shopping. It's called window shopping.
Yeah. But then when I got it, I was like, oh shit, this is very, very hard. How do you not take this?
Yeah.
And I had to really spend some time thinking about how it would feel to show up in, I kind of had Peanut and then I had this other offer. And I was trying to put myself in the position of showing up at these workplaces every day and working on the problem and about where my life is at now. And I'm the kind of person where if I can't identify with the problem or the product, if I can identify with the problem and the product, it just all clicks and it feels really easy. And it's my flow state and everything just comes.
Yeah.
And it feels amazing. And that's kind of how I was feeling about the Peanut thing. But Peanut is an amazing opportunity, but also still startup-y vibes.
Yeah.
And I've been working in startups for 10 years now, and I found Sunroom very hard. It was very relentless. It was a grind the entire way through. And so there was a part of me that's like, do I need a break? Do I take the easier job that's going to pay me so well?
I could make bank, but maybe I wouldn't be that happy.
Yes, and I'd be a cog in the wheel. Respectfully, I would feel like I'm a cog in the wheel, and maybe if I wanted to do something, I'd need to ask 2 people's permission before I'm allowed to do it.
No, thank
and
you.
Maybe they're going to mandate that I.
And don't get me wrong, like that's not a bad thing, but I think also once you've been a founder of your own business, it is very hard to take that step back where you aren't like, but I'm happy to take accountability for this project. Yeah. Like I don't need other people's sign off. Yeah. That would be really challenging for me as well.
I kind of felt like if I was going to work in someone else's organization again, this Peanut opportunity just felt like bang on.
See,
because I would
the universe
be the owner.
had your back.
Yeah. I would still have that like owner mindset, or a bit of like, it's not like I need to be like in power or anything. Like I can't even articulate it, but
no,
you know what I mean?
It's the decision-making process.
It's being able to have an idea and just start
implementation.
It that day. Yeah. Like I don't want to, I'm not doing a proposal. I'm not going to ask 3 people's permission. I need to start.
No, you can't sit on this for 3 months and like get me 3 different quotes and then we can maybe consider it and then we don't have capacity. Sorry, Michelle.
Yes, exactly.
Like, no, that's not how my brain works.
Like I just need to be able to shoot my shot at this, and like if it fails, I won't do it again. No issues though. Yeah. You know, like So I really went inward and I really just trusted my gut and my instincts. And I just, to be honest, even when I saw the huge offer, it was more like, well, I already knew I'm not going to take it, but I wish I didn't know it was that much. Yeah. Like I already know I'm going to go with this other one, but like now I'll know forever that I said no to that. But
power move in your own house.
Yeah. But I also do think it was like I was kind of only doing it to build confidence anyway. And this is why I find taking risks easier, is because I just reinforced an assumption that I had, which is like I'll probably always be able to go and get that.
Yeah.
So I want to follow my heart and go where I see there's more long-term potential whilst I'm still really motivated by that.
Because there are probably a lot of people in my community that have these offers, and it's kind of like also similar in a way to staying where you're at. You're like, okay, maybe you've reached that $100,000 salary and you're like, but I also know that next year that's going to be 110, and then, you know, a few years later I might be on 120, and like that feels really safe and that's like a very good amount of money. Or do I pivot and go to a different industry and I don't know what that's going to pay, or I don't know how sustainable that is, and you know, you haven't got enough experience to know what that career trajectory looks like. You've played very heavily, I would say, in the tech space over your career. And this is an industry that we've been talking a lot about on our podcast, because women can make bank. And I think that so many women are scared of tech because they're like, oh, I'm not really a techie person. Yeah. Like, I don't get it. Like, but from an investment and then also a career angle, we've talked about this idea of like high risk, high reward. And lots of people that are listening to the show, we are high risk people because we want the reward. Like, you don't listen to a show like She's on the Money because you don't want to change your life, be better at money, be better at finance, have a better career, have a better life. Like, the community that I have built, they listen to this content because they're like, I want to do better for myself. Like, I want to upgrade. Like, I want to put myself in the driver's seat. What do you think are the key things that made you so successful in tech, both as an employee, but then now as a startup founder that has exited?
Interesting question, because it really was Bumble that was sort of this breakthrough moment in my career. And I think what helped me get ahead at Bumble was I really gave a shit. A lot of people don't care about their jobs, and it's fine if you don't care about your job. There are also certain roles where you do just need someone to clock in at 9, clock out at 5, and maybe it doesn't need to be their passion. They've got other passions in life, you know?
And there are lots of jobs that serve that purpose.
Yeah. But for me, that job at Bumble did become my purpose, my life, my identity. And so I think I stood out in that role within the company because I really lived and breathed it and I went above and beyond. And I do, as I've now gone on to employ people, I actually do think it's pretty easy to stand out as a bit of an all-star in an organization because there's just so many really little things people aren't willing to do. Like, for example, at the end of the day, before you shut your laptop and walk out the door, actually announcing, hey, I'm probably going to wrap up soon. Is there anything I can help you with? That is just simply kind of caring, asking if anyone needs a hand, showing that you're a team player. And most of the time, no one will say anything anyway.
They'll be like, oh, no, thanks though, Michelle.
Off.
Like, have a good night. You go home. Like, oh my God, it's already 5:30. Like, that's the conversation.
Yeah, there's just little things that I think can make you stand out, or like the way you celebrate other people in the team, or if you're a leader, exposing members of your own team in public Slack channels and calling out their work. There's just, so many little things that I think it also positions you as a leader, even if you're doing those things and you're not one, which I think then can get eyes on you for promotional opportunities, and it's kind of the way you carry yourself. So I do think there's an element of like simplicity and just doing things like that. To your point as well about, maybe being a bit intimidated by the tech industry.
Because it's scary.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't say I necessarily fit a tech
Girl,
mold.
You grew a tech business. You sold a tech business. I think you're very well educated in this space.
It's weird though, because I would never have put that. If someone told me I was going to do that when I was in year 12, I'd be like,
oh, no,
lol.
No, me working in finance, lol.
Yeah. But I also think tech has so many different ways to get involved in it without needing to be an engineer. Like you can be a product designer, you could be a project manager, you could be marketing, you could be in social content. There are so many different doorways. Granted, if you do want to go on and found a tech company, it's like you will need to find an engineer.
Oh,
you're
going to have to play in that space.
Yeah, but you can then attract engineers if you've worked alongside them previously. So that can really help as an avenue in. But I think one of the coolest things about tech is they are very fast, aggressively wired growth type environments. And I feel like if you can get involved in a startup early, like one of the first 10 employees, it just has the opportunity to really catapult your career because you will have to act like an owner whether you want to or not. You will have to develop an appetite for risk. You will have to get comfortable with being agile. Like there are just loads of skills that you have to build that I think can make you really well-rounded and appealing to other environments. And it's a very unique experience. And it doesn't need to make you, like, I'm not necessarily saying you need to be a unicorn startup like the Bumble experience, but I think you can learn those skills in any startup environment, to be honest. They're also kind of toxic, but it's like
we'll just sweep that under the rug for right now. What I'm hearing from this conversation as well is something that I feel like I need to point out, because as women, we always underestimate our ability. We always like go, oh, maybe I need to go back to university, or we say things like, oh, I'm not smart enough for that, or I haven't got experience in that. But all the things that you just said make you this like unicorn employee, like being on time, caring about your job, going above and beyond. None of that actually involves intelligence.
No.
They all involve you just giving a shit and stepping up. And I think that, it's 2025, but so many people aren't willing to step up now. And that's probably a little bit controversial to say, but I see it on socials all the time. Like I see it online and I see it in, individuals. I'm, always hiring at the moment, or it feels like I'm always hiring, and like our team is growing, and you just see it even in interviews. You go, you don't give two shits. Like you just want to clock in at 9 a.m., clock out at 5 p.m. And like, that's actually irrespective of whether the job requires that. That's not the type of person I want to surround myself with. And when, even individuals step back and you think about, well, what type of people do you want to surround yourself with? I want a team that champions each other. Yeah. I want a team that says, oh, hey, did anybody need a hand before the end of the day?
Yeah.
Like, it's not the big things. It's not the degrees. It's not the, how much you spent on college. It's not any of that. It's actually about being a good bloody human.
Yeah, it's an attitude, I
think.
think.
That's hard now.
Yeah, I totally agree. I have found the hiring, I got asked a question last night and it's like, what would go down in sunroom law? And I was thinking.
Yes, please.
Well, I was thinking it's just all the personnel stuff where Lucy and I would look at each other and be like, what the hell was that? Like, you can get really blindsided. It's really hard to find good people. And that's why I think once you've got them, like we had some amazing employees and like we looked after them so well, would do anything to retain them and just feel so like indebted to them and like
that's how I feel about my current team and I'm obsessed with them.
Yeah.
Please, nobody rock the boat.
Yeah.
All right. So I know I'm running out of time with you very quickly. So for anyone who's listening, who's maybe scared of making a really big career change, what would you say to them right now? We've obviously talked about a lot, but like what would you just direct advice say?
I said this to myself when I took the job at Bumble and I've said it to myself with like every step I've taken since, and it's so simple and basic and it's just better to try and fail than to have never tried at all. And that's kind of like my life motto. And so I really don't think there's, even now selling this company, I don't think there's such thing as failure at all because you do learn so much. And I've kind of just proven through this process you can take it and then command way more where you go next. So I don't know, it's not that deep.
You're like, it's not that deep, just do it. If it doesn't work out, you can go back to your old job. Just don't burn bridges.
But do like the ikigai and use that framework because I think it'll just reinforce that you're probably ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think like better to try and fail than to have never tried at all.
Love. Well, unfortunately, Michelle, that is all we have time for today. I know you are a very busy woman. So thank you so much for joining us and for sharing just so much with us. I feel like we did get a little bit pervy. We learned about your new job, the sale of your business, but like most importantly, we learned just do it. Just rip the Band-Aid off. It's not that deep. And that sounds really silly, but I promise looking back, it's honestly so much more about the journey than the actual destination. Because how many times do you get to the destination and you're like, this ain't it, I'm selling it and we're going to do it again.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And guys, if you loved this episode as much as I have loved recording it for you, go and follow Michelle to keep up with everything she's working on. I'm going to make sure that all of her links are in the show notes. And while you're at it, if you found this chat inspiring, share it with a friend and make sure you're subscribed so that you never miss an episode. I'll see you guys on Friday.
Bye.
The advice shared on She's on the Money is general in nature and does not consider your individual circumstances. She's on the Money exists purely for educational purposes and should not be relied upon to make an investment or financial decision. If you do choose to buy a financial product, read the PDS, TMD and obtain appropriate financial advice tailored towards your needs. Victoria Devine and She's on the Money are authorised representatives of Money Sherpa Pty Ltd ABN 321 649 27708 AFSL 451289.